This is a new era for fighting Marines. Yesterday's large conventional operations against massed forces are being replaced by tactics directed against enemies who don't wear uniforms, who buy their weapons over the internet, and who are setting up in the hardest battlefield of all, the asymmetrical threat in the city. Project Metropolis of the Marine Corps Warfighting Lab is aggressively developing new training methods and capabilities to enhance our intelligence, communications, mobility, logistics, and fire support systems for urban warfare. Project Metropolis is conducting a series of experiments in the urban environment to get the street smarts we need to beat the enemy on their own turf. But as valuable as these experiments are, they do not include live fire events, scenarios that would quickly demonstrate that concealment does not equal cover. Researchers at the Naval Surface Warfare Center, Dahlgren, Virginia, under direction of Project Metropolis of the Marine Corps Warfighting Lab, recently conducted a series of live fire tests to demonstrate the effects of a variety of current weapon systems against typical structures found in the urban environment. A roofless 16 by 16 foot 3-room structure with standard 2x4 studded half-inch sheetrock interior walls and half-inch plywood exterior walls served as the laboratory. The front wall included a section for replaceable impact panels of brick and cinder block. These panels and the existing plywood exterior wall served as targets for the weapons fired straight on and at an angle of 45 degrees from a distance of 19 meters, about 60 feet, the average engagement distance in urban fighting. Inside were 3 wooden mannequins clothed in utilities and Kevlar helmets, 2 of them wearing fragmentation vests without ballistic inserts. They were placed in various positions within the structure in the midst of typical office furniture. The mannequins are concealed by the walls, but are they covered? The test was conducted over several days. The weapons included an M9 pistol, 12-gauge shotgun, AK-47 assault rifle, M16 rifle, M249 squad automatic weapon, M40A1 sniper rifle, M240G medium machine gun, M250 caliber heavy machine gun, M82 special application scoped rifle, M203 40mm grenade launcher, and an M67 fragmentation grenade. As a group, these weapons fired single rounds and bursts against the different types of walls concealing the mannequins. This video shows the results and also includes previous similar tests using a Mark 44 30mm chain gun and the shoulder-launched multi-purpose assault weapon, or SMA, against several types of barriers. A 9mm pistol was fired to show its effect on interior walls and adjoining rooms. A 3-round burst shot through an open door, went through an interior sheetrock wall at a 45-degree angle, passed through a mannequin without fragmentation vest, and lodged in a metal desk organizer. Even at a 45-degree angle, the burst of AK-47 rounds penetrated the brick exterior wall from an angle of 45 degrees, again throwing up a spray of dangerous fragments as they embedded themselves in the rear wall of the first room. The AK-47 easily penetrated plywood, cinder block, and brick exteriors at 0 and 45 degrees. The rounds generated secondary brick and block missiles as they entered and, in many cases, passed through the test structure. An M16 rifle was tested against the 3 building facades. A single M16 round, fired from straight on, passed through the plywood exterior wall, through a metal bookcase, through a mannequin with its fragmentation vest, and through an interior wall into a second room where it lodged in the rear wall. A burst of M16 rounds went through the plywood exterior, a mannequin with fragmentation vest, and penetrated into the rear second room, where they went through a metal cabinet and into a mannequin without fragmentation vest. As they exited the mannequin, the rounds dispersed into a 5-foot area in the rear wall of the second room. Three 3-round bursts from the M16 fired directly at the cinder block wall penetrated the blocks but did not enter the room beyond. A burst of M16 fire penetrated the brick wall from straight on, generating a spray of secondary projectiles before lodging in the rear wall of the front room. A single M16 round, fired from an angle of 45 degrees, penetrated the plywood exterior, passed through a mannequin and its fragmentation vest, and entered the second room, where it passed through a second mannequin without a vest and lodged in the wall of the second room. A burst of M16 rounds from 45 degrees penetrated the plywood wall, went through the mannequin with a fragmentation vest, and penetrated into the second room. A burst of M16 fire directed against the cinder block exterior wall from 45 degrees was unable to penetrate the wall. And a burst of M16 rounds from 45 degrees was also unable to penetrate the brick exterior wall. M16 single rounds and bursts were highly effective against plywood walls from any angle, causing interior damage, including penetration of fragmentation vests worn by mannequins. An M16 burst penetrated the brick wall from straight on, but not from 45 degrees. Bursts were unable to penetrate cinder block from any angle, but it is expected that repeated impacts in the same location would eat through the block. The M249 squad automatic weapon was tested against the structure. A burst of M249 rounds fired from straight on penetrated the plywood exterior wall. After passing through the bookcase and the mannequin's fragmentation vest, the rounds lodged in the rear wall of the first room. One round bounced off a helmet near the point of entry. An M249 burst fired straight at the cinder block wall, penetrated the wall, and kicked up a spray of secondary projectiles. The rounds passed through the mannequin and its fragmentation vest before lodging in the rear wall of the first room. Next, an M249 burst was fired directly at the brick wall. A few rounds penetrated the wall, breaking off secondary brick missiles that lodged in the rear wall of the front room, along with the rounds. Serious or possibly lethal wounds could occur if personnel were in the line of fire.
3, 2, 1.
When the angle was shifted to 45 degrees, a burst of M249 fire easily penetrated the plywood exterior wall. The rounds passed through a mannequin and its fragmentation vest, went through the rear wall of the first room, and then exited the structure through the side and rear walls of the second room. Rounds from an M249 burst failed to penetrate the cinder block wall from an angle of 45 degrees. Also from an angle of 45 degrees, a burst of M249 fire was unable to penetrate the brick exterior wall. However, with this and other smaller caliber weapons, it is expected that with continued hits, the rounds would eventually eat through the walls and make their way into the rooms beyond. From straight on, the M249 was effective against the plywood and cinder block walls, but less effective against the brick wall. From an angle of 45 degrees, M249 bursts passed through the plywood wall, but did not penetrate the cinder block or brick walls. A single shot from the M40A1 sniper rifle was directed against the plate glass window to indicate obvious danger when fighting in these conditions. From straight on, an M40A1 round penetrated the plate glass and passed through the left cheek of the mannequin, exiting the rear of the mannequin's Kevlar helmet. The round continued into the wall and furniture of the second room and passed completely through the structure.